Hello everyone, this is MJ Kim. Welcome to my Raspberry Pi 4 today's sixth session, remote server project. So as I mentioned before, that Raspberry Pi 4 is 8 gigabyte is around 120, and Raspberry Pi 4 is a 4 gigabyte is around 80 bucks, and 2 gigabyte is 60 bucks. So with these three different RAM DDR4, and you can make as many projects as you have, and also there support some sensor from third party, so it's pretty good. So if you go to the Raspberry Pi org.that's website, and also if you see the hardware, and then by the countries, and there are lots of third parties on it, and they also support some project the hardware on it. So this sixth session is pretty much you can do the small home office, or like during the COVID-19 pandemic, and you might not need many computers, so just have a VPN, desktops, and like remote support. Those are I think those who wants to have this IT troubleshooting, like Best Buy Geek Squad, and then you are able to establish the remote server project. So if you are familiar with those end user support with the remote, and not going to see the person face to face from to fix the computer, and then you might familiar with the Teamviewer or like Anydesk. Those two programs are the remote support things. Teamviewer is pretty much the expensive, so you can download it for free, and then you can use it. So if you're using the frequently with the computer to computer, and actually Teamviewer start to recognize that you are using, you might use for commercial, and then they start to block it. So once you go back to the commercial, and the pretty much that you are paying $600-700 per year, and then you are able to access with a one account with a 200 multiple devices. The POE switch is power over Ethernet, and actually that eliminated your 12 volt or 6 volt adapter. So like using Raspberry Pi and a POE, and then you gotta use for example by myself, it's NetGear 8 gigabit Ethernet Smart Managed Pro switches. I have those. And first time, and then without any research, and then I just hooked it up after I purchased the NetGear those 8-port PoE switches, and I just hooked it up from my LAN cable to the Raspberry Pi directly. What's going on? Why my power doesn't turn it on? And yes, absolutely, you need to have special the third party the POE Hat to put it into GPIO 24 pins, and that way, and then you are able to use the PoE switches without adapters. So keep in mind that you gotta buy another the POE Hat, which is support 24 GPIO, then, and you are able to use the PoE switches. Raspberry Pi clusters, and then you can buy 8 slow cloud cluster cases for Raspberry Pi, and Raspberry Pi with the micro SDs, 1 gigabyte is pretty much the 100 bucks. So you put the 1 gigabyte times 8, so 8 gigabyte, and you are able to use that one as a cloud. Then you might as well to have a PoE switches with a programmable, and then you can have a central control from your main server. So then that space as itself is not that big, and then probably the cell phone height is pretty much this size. Height is a half hand, like this size, and then just like this wide. So you don't your space is not that much, and also the power consumption will not be that much at all. So without like a medium size company, or like small company using like a PoE, and then you can have 8 Raspberry Pi clusters. So like one Raspberry Pi 4 8 gigabyte is 120 bucks. 120 times 8 is 960. The POE switch is $100, and this case is 92, so 1300 altogether. And then you can have all this, and then you start to purchase the $100 of each, the 1 gigabyte the micro SD. So times 8 is so like 800. So like probably $2,000, and you can have 8 computers with these 8 clusters Raspberry Pi. Raspberry, in order to do the Raspberry Pi remote desktop, so you, this is a Mac OS platform, and then you can actually go to the operating system, put in on your micro SD, and then it generic Microsoft that you gotta find out that whether your micro SDs are recognized in your device, and then you start to write it. Use the customs or your whatever is in there, and Raspberry Pi 32, the 2.4 gigabyte, the storage, those are just basic, and then you start to install that from the terminal, and then sudo apt get upgrade, update, and installs, and whatever you need to do. So probably next sessions and all the software I will list up from A to Z, and then you just keep saving it, and then you keep your SD as a master copy, and then whenever you need to reinstall it, and you just hook it up and you start doing it again. And if you see the download this Raspberry Pi imager, www.raspberrypi.org/software, so you can go into it. So SSH. So SSH is a text, terminal based platform that actually you can go into the other computer. So for example, in your small Raspberry Pi, I'm working in the Mac OS Big Sur platform, but I actually open it up from Launchpad, and then just go into the terminal. So these terminals pop up, and then SSH, and then SSH 192 Pi at 192.168.1.24, and then actually enter the password, so and you are able to get it. So find IP address, and that's a typo, if config, and then it show up your IP, and then your SSH, and sudo raspi config -config, and you are able to adjust your make sure that you are enable camera if you have a camera, and the VNC or like SSH. So you gotta open all those 3 things up in order to get this. So you gotta make it sure the SSH enable. So sudo apt sudo raspi config config, and you are able to get number 1 camera, number 2 SSH, number 3 the P3 is a VNC. Make sure that everything is enabled to doing it. When you get the SSH set up, and then you will see less login. So you are able to, from Mac terminal to the Raspberry Pi terminal, you are going to get it. So VNC. So once you get the VNC, and this is I just connect from my cell phone. So cell phone also connect from my routers. So cell phone as itself as a 192.168.1. something, and then you open VNC terminal, and then just type your set it up your IP address for the Raspberry Pi, and then you are able to see all the screens on that. So you go to next. So basically if you don't hook it up the monitor, and then actually you restart your Raspberry Pi without the monitor platform, basically VNC, as long as you know the IP, and then you actually enter into the Raspberry Pi, and you control VNC, and then actually you are able to get it. So so next one, let me introduce the sensehat project. So sensehat project is LED matrix display, accelerogyro, the magneto, air pressure, temperature, humidity. And there are 12 sensors in the sensehat board, and then also have a teeny joysticks on it. the price is around 60 bucks, so you can program it and display the as many as project you want it. So that called sensehat. So those are just beside the explanation. And then Teamviewer remote desktop. So if you want to install the Teamviewer, so what you can do is make sure that you upgrade, update, and sudo apt slash get update, sudo apt get upgrade, get download teamviewer.com. So download your Debian Teamviewer Debian version. So after that you're gonna extract the dpkg, Teamviewer host, and armf the db. So basically after you download all this, or either you actually download from your website, and then you make this command sudo apt fix broken install, and then actually either you set up the password from GUI or like from terminal. So and then you are able to set it up. So once you set all these things up, instead of going to the remote desktop, and then actually you are using the screen sharing for Teamviewer. So if you want to support then without the monitor, and then you just Raspberry hook it up to the POE switches, and without monitors, and then actually you can do or use this sensehat. So Anydesk, you might heard about it. So that the restriction is better than it's not much compared to the Teamviewer. So actually you go to the Anydesk the website, and then download your version, either your Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS, and Linux, FreeBSD or Raspberry Pi or Chrome OS. You download it, and after that install all this, and basically this computer, that computer, so that both computers need to be approved, assign each one, so then actually you are able to communicate for each computer. So Anydesk is the same kind of Teamviewer, but these are the remote desktop platforms. The sensehat run, and then there is a Python 7.3, and the function is pretty simple. So from sensehat import the sensehat, from time import sleep. The reason I put this comment is just because I want to make a loop. So sensehat, and then while true, sense show message, those are display. My one is still displaying on it. So COVID-19 pandemic second vaccination shot, Pfizer vaccine, and then it goes to the loop. So in order to do the loop, and then you are using the function with the while true, and then sleep too, and then actually it keep running. So let me show that how it works out. So so like this small sensehat, it's displayed like this. So probably this is a camera module, and then I actually have a external micro SD, so I can use the external storage. So this one I didn't put the loop on it. So after you put the loops, and it actually continues. So next project is I'm gonna install the garden self-watering system for garden plant floor, and then actually I need a LED light, so LED plant grow light, and so I'm gonna use the smart switches, and then also that's one of the motion moisture sensors, and then actually I took it out from here, and then I'm gonna make some LED screen, and actually a way to upgrade automatic irrigation. So actually with the water, and then those pump just keep putting in to the soil, so whenever the moisture sensor goes down, and then I'm gonna make this project for the next time. So if you wanna share any ideas and wanna talk to me, or keep working with the Raspberry project with me, or some Raspberry Pi Zero and or Raspberry Pi series and things like that, I'm gonna keep upgrading my project the level. So probably it's the best learning tool for the education purposes during the student school break. And then I wish this project will be more fun and then knowledgeable who wants to go to the information technologies or computer science on degree or diploma for the near future. Thank you very much.